The relationship between the UK and Ireland is one of the most complex and enduring in the world. It is a relationship marked by centuries of conflict, cooperation, and intertwined destinies. From the Norman invasions of the 12th century to the signing of the Good Friday Agreement in 1998, the two islands have been locked in a constant push and pull. This has shaped their political, social, and cultural landscapes. Understanding this intricate relationship requires delving into the annals of history. We must examine the key events and turning points that shape the course of UK-Ireland relations. This journey will take us through periods of brutal conquest and oppression. We will witness the struggle for Irish independence, and we will see the long and arduous path towards peace and reconciliation in Northern Ireland. This is not just a dry recounting of historical facts and figures. It's about understanding the human cost of this complex relationship. It's about the generations of Irish men and women who fought and died for their right to self-determination. And it's about the enduring legacy of conflict and the fragile hope for lasting peace.
The seeds of this tumultuous relationship were sown in the medieval period. The Norman invasion of Ireland in the 12th century marked the beginning of centuries of English and later British involvement in Irish affairs. Over time, English rule tightened its grip, leading to widespread dispossession of land and suppression of Irish culture and identity. The Tudor conquest in the 16th century further exacerbated tensions, with brutal plantations and religious persecution fueling resentment and resistance. The 17th century saw further upheavals, with the Cromwellian conquest leaving a particularly dark stain on the collective memory of Ireland. These historical injustices cast a long shadow over Anglo-Irish relations, their echoes reverberating through the centuries.
The struggle for Irish independence gained momentum in the 19th and early 20th centuries. The Great Famine of the 1840s, a devastating period of mass starvation and emigration, exposed the brutal realities of British rule and fueled Irish nationalism. The Home Rule movement emerged as a powerful force, demanding greater autonomy for Ireland within the United Kingdom. However, progress towards Home Rule was stymied by a combination of factors, including Unionist opposition and the outbreak of World War I.
The early 20th century witnessed a dramatic escalation in the struggle for Irish independence. The Easter Rising of 1916, though brutally suppressed, proved to be a pivotal moment, igniting a wave of popular support for complete separation from Britain. The subsequent War of Independence from 1919 to 1921 was a bitter and bloody conflict that ultimately led to the partition of Ireland and the establishment of the Irish Free State.
The Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921, while granting independence to 26 counties of Ireland, also sowed the seeds of future conflict. The partition of the island, with 6 counties remaining part of the United Kingdom as Northern Ireland, created a lasting legacy of division and unrest. This division would come to define much of the 20th century, culminating in the outbreak of the Troubles in the late 1960s. The Troubles, a period of intense sectarian violence in Northern Ireland, cast a long shadow over UK-Ireland relations for decades. The conflict, rooted in historical grievances and political divisions, claimed the lives of thousands of people and left deep scars on both communities. The involvement of paramilitary groups, the British Army, and various political actors created a complex and intractable situation.
The origins of political relations between the UK and Ireland trace back to the Norman invasion in the 12th century. In 1169, Norman knights led by Richard de Clare, known as Strongbow, landed in Ireland. This marked the start of over 8 centuries of English involvement in Ireland.
The Normans came at the invitation of Diarmait Mac Murchada, an Irish king. The invasion quickly escalated into a larger campaign of conquest. By 1171, King Henry II of England arrived to assert control. This led to the establishment of the Lordship of Ireland. The Norman invasion had profound and lasting impacts on Ireland. Their presence fundamentally altered the political landscape. The establishment of Norman rule laid the groundwork for future English interventions. Despite initial integration, tensions persisted, leading to intermittent conflicts. Section 2. The Tudor Conquest and Cultural Suppression. The Tudor conquest of Ireland marked a significant escalation in English involvement. Henry VIII declared himself King of Ireland in 1541, aiming to assert English sovereignty. The establishment of plantations disrupted Irish society. English and Scottish Protestants settled on confiscated Irish land. The Tudor conquest brought significant cultural and religious changes. The Reformation led to the establishment of the Anglican Church, creating conflict. Protestantism was met with fierce resistance from the Catholic Irish population. The Tudor conquest left a legacy of bitterness and division. Section 3. The 17th Century Upheavals. The 17th century was a tumultuous period in Irish history, marked by brutal conflicts and profound social changes. One of the most significant events was the Cromwellian conquest of Ireland from 1649 to 1653. Oliver Cromwell led the English parliamentarian forces in a ruthless campaign.
Cromwell's forces committed numerous atrocities, most infamously the massacres at Drogheda and Wexford. The conquest resulted in widespread land confiscation from Irish Catholics who were relocated to Connaught.
This period, known as the Cromwellian Plantation, entrenched divisions between Protestant settlers and native Irish. Harsh penal laws disenfranchised the Catholic majority, restricting their rights.
This repression fueled future uprisings and solidified resistance against English rule. These upheavals cemented divisions within Irish society, setting the stage for future conflicts. Section 4. Early nationalist movements and the Great Famine. The 19th century was a period of significant social and political change in Ireland, marked by the rise of nationalist movements seeking greater autonomy from British rule.
One of the earliest and most influential of these movements was the Society of United Irishmen, founded in 1791. Inspired by the American and French revolutions, the United Irishmen sought to establish an independent Irish republic. Their efforts culminated in the 1798 rebellion, which, though ultimately unsuccessful, highlighted the growing desire for self-determination.
However, the most catastrophic event of the 19th century was the Great Famine from 1845 to 1852. The failure of the potato crop led to mass starvation, disease, and emigration. Over 1 million people died and another million emigrated, profoundly impacting Irish society and its relationship with Britain.
The British government's inadequate response to the crisis exacerbated the suffering and fueled resentment. The famine exposed the harsh realities of British rule and intensified calls for independence. The 20th century dawned with Ireland on the brink of transformative change. The struggle for home rule had dominated Irish politics for decades.
The Easter Rising of 1916, though a military failure, proved pivotal. It galvanized popular support for Irish freedom. Leaders like Patrick Pearse, James Connolly, and Countess Markievicz seized key locations in Dublin. They proclaimed an Irish republic defying British rule.
The British response was swift and brutal. After 6 days, the rebels surrendered, leaving Dublin in ruins.
Initially, the rising was met with mixed reactions. The execution of rebel leaders, especially James Connolly, transformed public opinion. The executions fueled sympathy for the rebels and their cause. The rising shattered illusions of Irish acquiescence to British rule. The executed leaders became potent symbols of Irish resistance.
Post-Easter Rising, Sinn Féin's rise marked a shift in Irish politics.
The War of Independence began in 1919, with the IRA's guerrilla tactics proving effective. By 1921, negotiations led to the Anglo-Irish Treaty.
The 1921 Anglo-Irish Treaty created the Irish Free State, but partitioned Ireland.
This led to a civil war between pro- and anti-treaty factions. The Free State's independence began a slow reconciliation process. The early 20th century saw profound changes in Ireland.
Partition created lasting divisions, leading to the Troubles in the 1960s.
Both nations sought ways to move beyond past division. The Troubles erupted in the late 1960s.
Discrimination against Catholics led to the Battle of the Bogside.
British troops' deployment escalated the conflict. The 1970s saw escalating violence.
Bloody Sunday in 1972 deepened divisions.
Internment without trial fueled further resentment. International attention grew in the 1970s.
The Sunningdale Agreement failed amidst distrust.
The hunger strikes of 1981 highlighted the human cost. The Troubles' toll was heavy, with over 3,500 killed.
The conflict left a legacy of trauma and economic hardship.
The Good Friday Agreement in 1998 marked a step towards peace. By the mid-1990s, there was a push for peace.
Hume Adams talks laid the groundwork for negotiations.
The 1994 IRA ceasefire opened the door for peace talks. The Good Friday Agreement was signed in 1998.
It established power sharing and called for disarmament.
The agreement was overwhelmingly approved in referendums. Section 3. A Fragile Peace Challenges and Triumphs. The Good Friday Agreement marked a watershed moment in Anglo-Irish relations, ushering in a new era of cooperation and partnership.
The agreement's implementation, however, was not without its challenges. The decommissioning of paramilitary weapons proved to be a particularly contentious issue, with delays and disputes over verification mechanisms.
The power-sharing executive faced periodic crises, with breakdowns in trust and political stalemates threatening to derail the peace process. Despite these challenges, the Good Friday Agreement has largely succeeded in its primary objective, ending the large-scale violence that plagued Northern Ireland for decades.
The agreement created the space for political dialogue and reconciliation to take root. The decommissioning of paramilitary weapons, though initially slow, was eventually completed in 2005, marking a significant milestone in the peace process.
The power-sharing executive, despite its internal tensions, has provided a framework for cross-community governance. The devolution of power to Northern Ireland has allowed for greater local control and a more responsive and accountable government.
The agreement also led to significant reforms in policing and justice, addressing some of the root causes of the conflict.
The peace process in Northern Ireland has been a testament to the power of dialogue, compromise, and political courage. The Good Friday Agreement, while not a perfect solution, has provided a framework for peace and reconciliation.
The agreement's success is a testament to the determination of those who were willing to look beyond the divisions of the past and work towards a shared future.
Section 4. The Unfinished Peace Legacy and Future Prospects. Despite the significant progress made since the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, the peace process in Northern Ireland remains a work in progress.
The legacy of the Troubles continues to cast a long shadow, with sectarian divisions still evident in some communities. The peace walls that divide Protestant and Catholic neighborhoods in Belfast stand as stark reminders of the divisions of the past.
The political landscape in Northern Ireland has undergone significant transformations since the Good Friday Agreement. The once dominant Ulster Unionist Party and the Social Democratic and Labour Party have been eclipsed by the more hardline Democratic Unionist Party and Sinn Féin, respectively.
This polarization of the political landscape has made power sharing more challenging, with periods of political stalemate and even the collapse of the power sharing executive.
The UK's exit from the European Union has also cast a shadow of uncertainty over the future of Northern Ireland. The issue of the Irish border, which became largely invisible during the peace process, re-emerged as a potential flashpoint.
The Good Friday Agreement relies on the principle of an open border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, which is also a member of the EU. Despite these challenges, the Good Friday Agreement remains the cornerstone of peace and stability in Northern Ireland.
The agreement's enduring legacy is a testament to the power of dialogue, compromise, and the unwavering commitment of those who sought to build a more peaceful and just society.
The future of Northern Ireland will depend on the continued commitment of all parties to the principles of the agreement, the pursuit of reconciliation, and the unwavering belief in the possibility of a shared future free from the divisions of the past.
Section 1. The ties that bind UK-Ireland relations today. The UK and Ireland, bound by geography, history, and shared kinship, stand today at a unique juncture in their long and often turbulent relationship.
The Good Friday Agreement, a testament to the transformative power of dialogue and compromise, has fundamentally reshaped the political landscape, ushering in an era of unprecedented peace and cooperation.
The echoes of past conflicts, while still audible, have faded, replaced by a cautious optimism and a shared desire for a future free from the divisions of old.
The two nations today enjoy close economic, cultural, and political ties. The UK remains Ireland's largest trading partner, with deep economic interdependence across a range of sectors.
Cultural exchanges flourish, with vibrant Irish communities in Britain and a shared passion for music, literature, and sport. The common travel area, predating both countries' membership in the European Union, allows for the free movement of people between the two islands, fostering close personal and familial connections.
The political relationship, once characterized by suspicion and mistrust, has been transformed by the peace process. The Good Friday Agreement, endorsed by both governments and the vast majority of people on both islands, provides a robust framework for cooperation and partnership.
Regular high-level consultations, joint initiatives on issues of mutual concern, and a shared commitment to upholding the principles of the agreement underpin the contemporary relationship.
The legacy of the past, however, continues to cast a long shadow. The Troubles, though consigned to the history books, left deep wounds that will take generations to fully heal.
The issue of legacy justice, dealing with the unresolved crimes of the conflict, remains a source of tension. The persistence of sectarian divisions in Northern Ireland, while diminished, serves as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the ongoing need for reconciliation. Section 2. Navigating the Uncertain Waters: Future Prospects. The UK's exit from the European Union has undoubtedly introduced a new layer of complexity to UK-Ireland relations.
The Irish border, once a symbol of division and conflict, had become largely invisible during the peace process, with the free flow of people and goods taken for granted. Brexit, with its potential to reintroduce border controls, has raised concerns about the impact on the fragile peace in Northern Ireland and the future of cross-border cooperation.
Both the UK and Irish governments have repeatedly stressed their commitment to avoiding a hard border on the island of Ireland, recognizing the potential for instability and the economic disruption it would cause.
The Good Friday Agreement, with its guarantee of an open border, has assumed even greater significance in the context of Brexit, serving as a touchstone for both sides in their efforts to manage the UK's withdrawal from the EU.
Beyond the immediate challenges of Brexit, the UK and Ireland face a range of shared opportunities and challenges in the 21st century. Both countries are grappling with the implications of globalization, climate change, and rapid technological advancements.
Cooperation on issues such as trade, energy, and security will be crucial in navigating these turbulent waters. The deep reservoir of goodwill and shared history that exists between the UK and Ireland provides a strong foundation for future cooperation.
The lessons learned from the peace process, the importance of dialogue, compromise, and mutual respect are as relevant as ever in addressing the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
The relationship between these two neighboring islands, once defined by conflict, has the potential to serve as a model for peaceful coexistence and shared prosperity in an increasingly interconnected world.